Hello and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Ryan Selby and I am your host for today. Today we are joined by two very special guests, which I'm very excited to introduce you guys to. It's going to be a great TikTok experience, but we're joined by Madhuri Murlikrishnan and Eliza Tan, and I will also refer to them as the Adobe video gurus that will know everything that you need to know between Premiere and video editing, you name it. But I'm very excited to get you guys introduced and get you guys started up and ready to go. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring them in. So welcome to the stream. Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, you guys.
Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks
Uh,
for joining, everybody. And thanks, Ryan, for having us in here and for that very kind introduction.
yeah, do you want to just do a quick introduction of yourself and kind of give a little background about yourself?
Absolutely. Yep. Hi, everybody. This is Madhuri Murlikrishnan, and I will not blame Brian for not getting my last name as
I am
easily. It's
so sorry.
hard
I
one.
realized it as we
No,
went
don't
live. I was like, I
apologize.
did not check out
Do
phonetically what I was
do
going to
not. Do
do.
not apologize. It's okay. It's a really hard one. But happy to be here. This is Adobe Live has been around for a very long time, but I think Eliza and I are here for the first time, so we're super excited. I help head up the partnerships team for video partners within our Adobe Video product team, and which encompasses all different types of partners, which includes our social media partners as well. Today, in particular, we're excited to talk about an integration that exists in beta today, which is export to TikTok and our other social platforms as well. And then our focus today is on TikTok because we've got some features which are teed up for a lot of our social media users, TikTok users who use video workflows in their creative work today, in their day-to-day work today. And I'm excited to share this feature as well as the workflow and how it can actually reduce your time, increase your productivity, and make it really quick for you. I'm joined here today with Eliza, who's on my team, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Hey, Eliza.
Hey, Madhuri. Hey, Ryan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm Eliza. I'm on the same team as Madhuri. So we're on the Adobe Video team. And I help lead AI and audio partnerships for our digital video and audio products, as well as marketing for the video ecosystem. And prior to Adobe, my background's actually very much in media creation as well. So, using Premiere, but a variety of other products as well across the Creative Cloud. So excited to tie into some of that into our discussion today. And yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, and also to mention some of your background as well, you did some work with the Olympics, right?
I did, yeah. So I was a photographer for the past two Olympics. I had the privilege of traveling to Tokyo and Beijing. I was one of four broadcast photographers for Tokyo and one of three for Beijing. So very different life compared to what I'm doing now. But it was uh I don't know, Ryan. I have so many stories I can share because they were both COVID Olympics, but it was an experience of a lifetime for sure.
No, I'll ask you more about it as the show goes on. We're here for the next hour or so, and so we got a lot to go through. But I want to make sure we start off strong, and I want to let you share your screen, and we can kind of hop into like a demo or something.
All right.
All right, so
Can
here we
you?
are.
Okay, there we go. And Madri's actually going to kick things off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for setting this up, Eliza. I think I know we've got a quick video coming up here in a second. I do want to, share something important as why this contextualizes the workflow for us personally, someone like Eliza and myself. I am a singer-songwriter, content creator, and artist on the side as well. I do put out a lot of music videos and video tools and video editing tools, or even, needing video editing tools for social media is something that I need every day, every week. It's what I need as an artist as well. And I also need from a day-to-day perspective. So I think this workflow really makes it very simple for someone who is a content creator and artist like myself. So I'm hoping it resonates with you from that lens. So let's dive in. Let's look at this quick video, and then I'm excited to share more features coming forward.
Sounds good.
All right, gonna play this video.
Okay, you have my attention. I think it's really cool that it's also included in there. I know a lot of times people are trying to fight the algorithm. They're trying to hack the algorithm and try to figure it out. So I think it's so important to be there to be like, you're not sacrificing quality, but you're also, and I think even more so important, people are like, I'm not sacrificing my rank or like how this works, which is really inspiring to see.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ryan. No, I think that exactly is the point. And what you saw in the video is a very quick 30-second version, which we're going to break it down and we're going to go into the meat of it in a few minutes here. But I think what Ryan was talking about is the key part that we want to emphasize on, right? Like there is definitely an existing impression that if we publish directly from apps to any of the social platforms, it somehow compromises your ranking. The algorithm does not, it kind of does not support you, or you're kind of pushed down in the bottom. That's not the case. And we actively work with each of our social media partners. And we've worked with TikTok in this integration with the engineering team, with the product teams, the partnership teams and such, so that we can actually qualify the statement with actual backing that your ranking will not get affected. The algorithm is not going to have an effect on your ranking if you publish directly. So that should not stop you from doing it. If it is the workflow and the complication, that is going to be another reason why I'm telling you not to stop yourself from publishing directly, but we'll go into that in the demo in a second. But when it comes to the algorithm, it's definitely not going to be a reason for you to stop trying this.
Well said. And also, I do want to touch point on one thing that you said a little bit ago, was that you're also predominantly a singer-songwriter, and you've created 10 original songs that you have like went and produced and created music videos for, right?
Yes, that's right. Well, I didn't create the music videos myself, but I worked with the editor. But as you can tell, anything from creative process perspective requires a lot of artwork, a lot of whether it's cutting out a trailer, cutting out a version of your content or what have you for social media promotions and whatnot. I'm involved in the process very much.
Yeah, just because as a space, as a musician, the landscape has changed so much within the last year, within the last 5 years, last 10 years. And it's always exciting to see Adobe kind of leverage the ability to help creators continue to reach farther than maybe they would have in the past. Like the idea of video creation also landing in the lap of a musician, I think is a really important role now, whereas like maybe 10 years ago it wasn't as much. So it's cool that it's like being enabled and helped with through Premiere directly.
100%. No, 100%. And it's actually why interesting story is why I joined Adobe, is because it's very much resonates to me as a user, what I do on the side, to come in and now kind of, help make it a better experience for everybody, and including myself, right? So if you are a user of a product, you're a consumer of a product, I think getting to work on that same product it's absolutely an absolute joy, an absolute blessing, I would say. And I love it. I love the fact that what I do on the side resonates very deeply with what I'm able to create in the product.
Yeah, and we have a few people over in chat. Hello to people over on YouTube and in Behance. I see that Joseph Tan's over in the YouTube saying, wow, 10 songs. And then we also have some great shout outs from Roland. And thank you, Wade, for being our moderator. Hello to Umacorn and Barbara, Monica, Arsha, all over on Behance. If you guys have questions as we make our way through the demo, through the stream, please by all means throw them in the chat and I will relay them over to these two. These are the experts and they will be happy to answer your questions and anything that you might want to know. They are here for you. So I will hop back over to the screen share and maybe we can hop on into that demo.
Yep, sounds great. So let's just look at some of the nuances here very quickly. And so first off, we're in good company here, right? So if you go on TikTok and you look at number of folks who are using Premiere Pro, there are about more than 1 billion hashtags on this. There are more than 120 million hashtags on Adobe Premiere Pro and then the Premiere Pro tutorial. So what I'm trying to say is that we definitely have a very niche area, but it's a good fit for people who are already doing this today. So there are people who are probably already creating in Premiere Pro, they're editing it and then maybe exporting into the desktop and then coming back and then trying to upload it back into TikTok from there. We want to be able to help those folks. So we want to be able to help all these users. I want to believe if there are 101 billion hashtags for Premiere Pro, there are about 1 billion people out there who are also wanting to use this. So this is going out to all of the folks who are already using Premiere Pro for social media use cases. So we're definitely in good company and it's a very popular use case.
Yeah, because there's also that recent update where it can automatically reframe a horizontal to be a vertical. So like before that was such a process of like, okay, now I have to manually go through and keyframe this, but now there's that automation that can automatically make it vertical for you.
Yeah, exactly. And go ahead, Eliza, why don't you jump in?
Oh, no, yeah, I think, Ryan, you're talking about auto reframe, and that's a feature actually not many people know about. I think it came out actually way back in 2018 or 2019 at the latest. But yeah, it automatically reframes video for social media, detects the subjects in your frame, and that's definitely something that for this new feature, so TikTok coming out in Premiere, that's going to be really relevant to those workflows. So thanks for calling that out.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's been a lifesaver for me. I've only known about it for like the past like year or so, but I'm sure if you were to clock how much time it saved me, it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
It's time saved, right? That's the value here. And yeah, Madhuri, go on.
Now, yeah, we can probably move forward. And so just want to leave a few thoughts here, right? So just so that you're aware, we launched the beta version for this feature back in Adobe Max in October of last year, so October 2023. We've got some amazing responses from the folks who've tried it in beta. We've also been able to kind of share it with some of our folks in the community. And then, our users so if you haven't already tried it, we'll also walk you through how you can get the access to the beta build so you can then use this version. But for export to TikTok specifically, I do want to call out that it will be available in our next version coming out. It will be GA in the 24.2 version that's coming out. So I'd love for you guys to keep an eye on it. But in the meantime, it exists today in our beta version, and you should be able to access it. And clearly people are loving what they're seeing today.
They're saying Christmas came early.
They did. They did. It was really heartwarming to see that this is a workflow need for a lot of folks. So I'm looking forward to seeing when this goes GA and how it actually helps in everyday use cases. All right. And I think the main key areas that we're trying to hit here is that you're able to save time, you're able to simplify your workflow, and we want to give you guys time back in doing what you're doing, which is creating inspiring content. So how can we get you to do that more? So that's the more important message here. Then if we move to the next slide, like I mentioned, this is without compromising your quality or ranking of your videos. I think I cannot emphasize on this hard enough. Because this is one single most barrier to entry. It has been for me personally. I'm guilty of this. I have not published my content directly to any social media, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, what have you, without having to worry about the fact that it's going to ding my video. So, but the fact that we have partnerships with these companies right now should tell you that we take this seriously, and we want to make sure that you're feeling confident about doing that.
And that's also not the case with a lot of other services that you can have. Like, there are ways that it can really inhibit your video process if you use other programs. Not all of them, to say, but there definitely are ones that are kosher and ones that the services don't like you using. So it's always refreshing to know that mine of choice is on the good list.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of the other social media, I also want to call out that the beta version, the beta build, you should be able to also publish your videos to a Facebook Reel or YouTube Shorts, or as a full form video on YouTube, which are existing destinations today for Facebook and YouTube. But in beta, you can also publish your video as a YouTube short or a Facebook Reel, so along with TikTok. So,
and that's a great point, actually. For we have the question in chat from Michael Totero, which says, in regards to the beta version of Premiere Pro, do you recommend that I use the beta version instead of the official version?
For trying out this particular feature, absolutely, yes. Because it does not exist in the general version right now. It's going to be GA in the next version, which is the 24.2 version, which will come out shortly.
And people can just actively access that through the Creative Cloud app, right?
Correct. I think once the version is available, well, why don't Eliza walk you through it?
You can easily download beta version of the apps via the Creative Cloud panel. So just navigate over to Creative Cloud on your desktop, and to the left under apps, you should see beta apps, and Premiere is listed, I think, in the top 4. So 24.2, like Madhuri was saying, is in beta right now. So that's where you'll be able to access the new TikTok workflow, but also other really cool features like enhanced speech in Premiere. So we highly... Yeah, no, we highly encourage people to at least try out the beta. Now, it can be a little bit challenging when you have projects that you need to work on really quickly, or like turn in the clients on a deadline. For that, the beta, a lot of editors do prefer to still use the current GA version, but we definitely highly encourage the GA for trying out new features. And that's where we gather a lot of feedback as well. And our engineering teams are really listening, and PMM teams are really listening into that feedback and acting on it. So if you want a way to contribute to, the official releases, that's definitely the way to do it.
Very cool. Monica's saying awesome features. Also, Miss Bunny Blogger Alim SL says, go Eliza.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, I guess we could probably go to the next bit here. Yeah, so we'll go into this in the demo, and Eliza is going to walk us through all of that in a second here. But just want to highlight that when we're talking, Ryan pointed this out earlier when we started off, that sometimes you've got your horizontal and your vertical, and you've got your you've got to be able to add your captions and whatnot. And sometimes you don't know what the safe zones are. Project templates are exactly and precisely for that particular use case. What we've done with project templates is, depending on the type of export you want to produce, whether it's for a particular social media platform, in this case, like for TikTok, you've got an existing template which you can use for TikTok with the safe zones intact. So it tells you at what point your captions will be cut off, or what area of the video won't be seen if you actually have your video set up incorrectly. So safe zones are a lifesaver for someone like me who needs to put content out. I think it will be very helpful for us to be able to kind of do this earlier before we create all the videos. We edit it and have that all be ready, and figure out that they're just not cut out correctly. So I think project templates are super helpful for that reason. And it's not just with TikTok. We've got templates for YouTube, for Instagram, for Facebook, for other of our social media platforms as well.
Like, why can't
Um,
they all be the same? Like, they're all just so slightly different that, like, that really
yeah.
kills me.
I know, but I guess it what I think I still enjoy is the fact that if I'm putting it as a story versus putting it as a reel or a I'm going to publish something differently. It I have the options to select that up front and create my video based off of the output that I'm looking to share. So um definitely think this is another feature that's not as well known, and I think Eliza, feel free to jump in here. I know you've got some thoughts on this, but I know that it's not as well known, but I do think it's a big lifesaver when we're creating videos for socials.
Yeah, no, and Madhuri, I mean, definitely huge content creator, and you I think we were talking earlier, and you were saying, sometimes it can be really frustrating if we're posting, like something to TikTok or another social media channel, and then we realize that it's not exactly how we want it to be, or maybe, like our captions are a little bit hidden. And I think all across the board, like we want more control over the final output and how it looks on the social media platform. So this is something that hopefully helps address that pain point. And like safe zones for me have been a life changer, I know, because like as an editor myself, like I'm not typically in front of the camera, I'm typically behind the camera, behind the screen, right? So this is different for me, but there's a lot of requests when it comes to like if I'm editing other people's content or even my own, like we really need to make sure that it looks right when we deliver final content, and when we're editing not just for like for for um for delivery to the client, but also for YouTube, for different social media platforms. So social media templates is really something that like has been really helpful for me personally to be able to start with that in the beginning of the timeline. So
Well said.
Awesome.
And we do have another question actually over in the chat about the beta. And Bridget wants to know if you can go back and forth from beta to the current version when you're working with the same project. Does it lock it in? I can't remember. I feel like you can, but you don't have access to some of the features like that you
It's the
might have.
features which
Yeah.
will not be
yeah, it's the features. Yeah, I
yeah,
think you should be able to open
the
so
project.
yeah, the project in beta and then go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the features won't be the same.
It depends on what your use case is for, right? Like if it's a project that you want to just try it out with some of the new features in beta and then see how that goes and render that out, by all means do that. But if it's a project that you're using for, specific features like this one, the export to TikTok or with, enhanced speech or what have you, which are existing only in beta, you won't have access to those in Premiere Pro version. So that would be the shortfall.
And it's cool because there are a bunch that you can have that all really are optimizing so that you can get your video in the best place before you put it online. One thing that you did bring up with the safe spaces for the different content was captions. And personally, one of the biggest things for me was, I think it's even out of beta now. It might be general, but the text-based editing. The seamless flow where you can edit a bunch of your content through just editing text, but then you just go and you click create captions and it just like plops there. I'm like, oh, cool. Like I did all the work through my editing and now my captions are right there. And then you don't have to worry about listening to it 400 times when it's looping when you're correcting the captions on TikTok and you're like, okay, yes, I can hear my own voice, but I need to change all the captions.
Yeah.
It's a big, nice workflow that, you don't even have to really open the apps, which is cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we'll get into the demo piece right here, and I think you might be able to see some of that just in action. So we've got a couple more pointers that I want to hit at, and then we can go right into it. Again, like I mentioned, without compromising your rank and quality. And then Yeah,
ability to post the drafts.
yeah, this is the one thing that another thing I want to pause and make sure that you guys totally consume this, right? Like you don't have to export this directly as a publish to TikTok, right? But TikTok, you've got your video, you've formatted it, you've positioned it correctly with the safe zones, you've added your captions, you're ready to hit go, but you still want to make sure that it does not necessarily just go directly into TikTok right away and is live. There's a way for you to choose, right? So you can post it as a draft. For me, someone like me who is publishing my music video for the first time and it's going to go live for the first very time, it would really give me a heart attack if I had to publish it directly from Premiere Pro. So I'm glad that there's a feature that gets me to TikTok. It posts it as a draft first. I can add my hashtags. I can add my, tags to anybody or what have you, any, attributions, anything else that I need to. I want to double check, want to make sure it's looking the way I want it to look, and then hit publish. It gives me a huge benefit of that option. So just so that doesn't get lost in the details, I'm making sure we're causing some limelight on this one.
Yeah, like who said it that they were you record a song in the studio and you listen to it in the studio, but the real test is like playing it over the car speakers. So that you hear it properly. I feel like it's very similar. Like sometimes I edit things fully on my computer, and then by the time it gets to my phone, it sounds different when it's coming out of my phone speakers. So it's nice to be able to have that draft, and then you can open up the draft within the app on your actual phone and be like, oh, this is how it'll be experienced like in someone's hand.
Yep. And Ryan, the example you gave, every single song, every single of my 10 original songs have sounded different in the car. So I know exactly what you mean. And you have to test it that way. So yeah, you're 100% right on that. Perfect. Well, let's go forward. I guess we can move on to the demo. Well, it sounds like we hit the two main things. So before we hit into the demo, I want to just make sure you guys remember three quick things. Access to this feature is available in beta in Premiere Pro. The ability for you to post can be directly publishing or as a draft. And third, and the most important, it is not going to ding your ranking in the algorithm. So keep those three things in mind, and let's dive into the demo.
Real quick, before we dive into the demo, do you mind if I ask a few questions from the chat?
Please do.
Okay, cool. Michael wants to just clarify what no impact to ranking means.
So, like I mentioned earlier, I think when there's an ongoing impression that, if you publish directly from apps, it somehow won't rank higher in the feeds for in social media. And then we just want to put that out in writing out there that that's not the case.
And then one other question from YouTube we have from Roland. And Roland's asking about the product templates looking like overlays. Are they also available as Mogurts?
Eliza, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So I don't believe so. They are available. So I'll be diving into them in a little bit in the demo here, and you're basically able to access them in the import menu. And right when you first create a project. So that should answer your questions.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And then, I don't want to take away from your screen time for your demo. So I will keep an eye on chat. Guys, keep asking questions. And then as we hop into the demo afterwards, I can continue to ask. But thank you guys for your great questions. This is exactly what we're looking for. Thank you for asking. And feel free to let it rip in the chat.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everybody. And before we move on to demo, just quickly wanted to see if give us a thumbs up if you guys are using TikTok today or using Premiere Pro today.
I can definitely give you a thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
There's my thumbs up.
It's hard with live audience, I know, but just wanted to kind of gauge if there is enough folks who are already doing that today. So anyway, we'll keep going forward. Let's look at the workflow in the Premiere Pro, and then we'll come back for questions on that.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit challenging to send emojis too.
It is, I know.
YouTube or
yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, if you're ready to jump into the demo, and thanks, Madhuri, for setting the stage. I think, Ryan, we were chatting a little bit earlier, and I mentioned that, so I'm not a huge TikTok creator myself, but funny thing is my dad actually is. Um, and kind of tell like a little bit of a backstory here, but so I am originally from Malaysia in Southeast Asia, and I moved to the US when I was about 17 for college. And a few years later, my family actually decided to come to the States as well for my dad to pursue a second master's degree. It was about time for my sister to start college. And the funny thing is, during the pandemic, my sister actually decided to, get into TikTok, make a bunch of dance videos. And the funny thing is, she was like trying to get my dad to be on board with her, right? She was like, kept saying, please, will you join me making some dance videos? And then he ended up creating a TikTok himself. And in a couple months, his following really went up. And it's literally the most wholesome content. Like his stuff pops up on my feed all the time. It's like about anger. He's a life coach and trainer and consultant. So really his videos are based off of conversations that he has with my mom in the morning, like over breakfast. And then he'll go out, take a walk, and record himself always in front of a bunch of trees. And I think what has been the most encouraging about all of it is that oftentimes, like in the comments, like you'll see here, like people are saying that, the content that he's making is really making an impact. And that goes to show, I guess, for me and my sister too, to realize that it's not always necessary to, use trending audio or trending or trends to get content that goes, viral and has a widespread reach. So shout out to my dad. I think he's in the chat.
Yeah, where can we find him? Do you know his handle?
Yeah, it's kind of long. Good Monday Consulting.
Cool.
I think
It's a cute name.
Yeah, it's
also, yeah, what is he shooting on? He's obviously shooting on his phone for this.
He's shooting on his phone.
Yeah,
he's shooting on his phone. And the thing is, like, and how we're tying it back to this demo as well, is that I think my dad and many creators out there, including, myself in the past, have like this misconception, like Madhuri was saying, right? Like if you create content in the app itself, it optimizes it for the algorithm and for the number of views and comments. But we've worked with TikTok behind the scenes to, to get their confirmation in saying that, like, if you're editing and exporting directly from Premiere, it's not going to impact that. And I think that's huge. So yeah, I have a little bit of my dad's content here actually for the demo. So Dad, forgive me if I misrepresent this, but
save my relationships via this demo.
Oh, yeah, I think someone found his head
Much pressure.
Right,
Also,
and it's
lots of thumbs up in the chat, by the way. We've gotten dozens. We got Trails and Jamie, Deborah, Wade, Oliver, Michael. So lots of people are actively using social platforms and also using Premiere. So it's got a attentive audience right now.
awesome. All right, so yeah, kudos to my shout out to my dad for allowing me to use his content. But I'll really just dive into the whole social media workflow right now. So starting right at the import menu, so where you ingest footage into Premiere, there's multiple options under the project template drop-down menu. And here I've selected social media template project. I'm gonna name my project. Just gonna say Dad TikTok for ease of use. And then select his video. And you can see on the right here, Ryan, you were saying text-based editing. What this does here, when I check automatic transcription, it's going to detect the language in the video. So in this case, it's English. It's going to separate the speakers, and that's going to auto-generate a transcript upon importing the video. So as you can see here, I have my video on the timeline and the transcript as well. And over here, what you're going to see is a bunch of social media templates. So we have TikTok, But we also have a variety, as you can see on the right here. So X, Instagram, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, and also for all aspect ratios and sizes. And how these project templates work, I know there was a question about that earlier, is it's kind of an overlay that you can put over your video. So what I can do is actually drag in the video of my dad and replace that first layer with it. And then what you were saying earlier, Ryan, about auto reframe, we can use that to help scale. Go to fit the screen.
Nice.
Yeah, and I could have done that another way too. I could have done like set to, like if you right click and select scale to frame size or set to frame size, that would have done the same thing. Or I could have brought over this overlay to another sequence instead of, enlarging my dad's footage. But multiple ways you can go around achieving the same end result. And here
is the deal breaker of building trust, and that is telling lies.
Okay, so this is a video that my dad recorded about trust and telling lies. And what I want to do is create captions. So we all know that's a big step today, especially for social media, to get people's attention. Sometimes people don't even turn on audio, right, when they're watching videos on social media. So in my text panel to the right, I'm just gonna click create captions. And I'm actually gonna adjust the maximum length and minimum duration, and you'll see why I'm doing this later. And I'm adjust it to single lines. So there you go. Let's play it a little bit
It's
and
the
see.
deal breaker of building trust, and that is telling lies.
All right, so you can see that captions have been generated, but it's actually below the safe zone for where descriptions are going to be in TikTok. This is a huge problem. I've run into it myself and then had to like delete the video off TikTok and then re-export that. So what I'm actually going to do is I have two options. So I can either bring that up above the description, or I have this neat plugin called Submachine that can actually help animate these captions for me to add a little bit of flair.
Okay.
So what I can do is, it's a little bit new, is export these captions. Let's see.
While Eliza is doing that, I quickly shouting out to the fact that this is the reason why our partnerships with all of our smaller plugin partners, or even our ecosystem of different partners work together. This is how we all come together to complete the workflow for the customer. So we are very much focused on trying to make this an end-to-end experience, being absolutely seamless for all of our Premiere Pro users. So give us any questions or comments or anything you might have that you might be already benefiting from it, or something that's you might benefit from knowing more on.
Yeah, over in YouTube chat, Joseph is saying, I have to manually position my caption in TikTok itself to avoid the description line area. And that's when these templates would really come in hand, because then you can see even in this example, there's already like a fake little description area for you, so that then you can already keep that in mind before you even hop into the app.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, thanks for that ad, Madhuri. Like Madhuri was saying, we do work with all these partners behind the scenes, and even Submachine here, and yeah, the creator of Submachine, Andrew, is someone who we talk to regularly. So let's see. Let me actually export this so as a SRT file. Sorry, I think it's making me do it again.
It is funny how, just in the same way that different editing styles come and go, especially even faster with these social media sites, but also the style of captioning and how you have your captions come in and out, or like how they look, has changed over the years as well. It's like literally every small facet of a video can have a style and a following at this point, where before it was just words, but now you see the same kind of ones all over the place. Wade is saying, are these templates available within Premiere Pro?
So yeah, I'll show you here in a little bit, but basically it functions, and any software extension really shows up in Premiere like as if it's part of Premiere. And how you can access that is by going up to Windows, Extensions, and then finding whatever plugin or panel that you have installed. And then you can undock the panel just like you would a panel in Premiere. And for this particular plugin, it uses Mogurts. I know there was a question about Mogurts earlier to actually help with captioning. And you can actually see here like the variety of options that you have when it comes to fast and engaging titles, and there's even one called TikTok. So I'll actually be using that this time around. So let's go back to the workflow. And then here what I did is I just exported that SRT file. Just takes a second. And then for the Mogurt, I'm going to select TikTok. And I believe this sequence is 30 frames. So I'll select that. I'll just double check. Sequence settings, and yes, I'm 30 frames per second, and can select the number of characters I want per phrase. I'm just going to select 10 and then press create subs. And you can see here, if I zoom into my timeline, it's just automatically populating my timeline. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's also cool that it's on its own kind of track as well, so that you can then kind of see the switch between them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna automatically detect like where, you already have video and visuals, and then it's gonna populate the tracks above. I'm gonna hide the original caption track and then press
It's the
play.
deal breaker of building trust, and that is telling lies.
So you can see it's done that word by word, captioning that we so often see on social media nowadays. But what I can do is, like it is covering my dad's nose. So I'm gonna go under effect controls. I'm gonna just adjust that y-axis for that, bring that down.
Also, I
And
hope
then
you're
under
getting paid for
essential.
this. I hope your dad is like, here's a few bucks. Thank you for the free editing.
No. And then under the essential graphics panel, you can actually change like colors and customize it even more. So it actually does function, Ryan, to your point that like it's part of Premiere. So like I can make it pink. I might actually maybe make it
Yeah, and I think
green.
this is the whole point about it being seamless, right? We want this to be a very seamless experience, so that it's not something that you have to really put yourself through some level of discomfort to go make this happen. It's seamlessly integrated, it's seamlessly available. You can directly put that as part of the workflow in here. And it just makes your job easy. I love this. I love this.
Yeah, Jordan's saying this is an absolute must for my videos. It will save me hours. Wow.
Awesome. And I think I see Roland in the chat saying, Submachine is from Creative Workflow Solutions, Andrew Hicks, and Automation Blocks is from Mamo World, Matthias Small. Both are Adobe video partners. Exactly right. And yeah, shout out to Andrew and Matthias for these awesome extensions. So here, just to go on, let me zoom into my timeline a little bit. So I've adjusted like the positioning of this and color of this. The rest aren't adjusted yet. What I'm going to do is just select all of the captions that were generated, go back here, and then press sync all so that they'll all reflect my latest changes.
It's also great even when you're working in like the traditional subtitles as well. Like I've learned that you can click and copy the transform properties, and you can just select all of them and paste on top, and then it'll also move them, which is like, I wish I could tell 2020 Ryan that, because once again he wasted a lot of hours that he didn't need to waste.
Right. Yeah, and it's all about saving time, and like, yeah, you can obviously like caption in product too, but this is just an added feature that you can use if you'd like. And yeah, so there we go. All the captions have been generated, and all I need to do is hide the overlay. It's adherent to safe zones already, and then export it. So actually have this queued up in the beta, and if you go under the export panel, you'll notice in the beta that TikTok is the only net new destination over here. And yeah, feel free to speak to this as well, Madhuri. But what
Yeah.
I did,
Yeah, I
um,
was just gonna say that, TikTok is a net new destination, but like I mentioned earlier, as you can see as in Eliza's screen here, there are existing destinations that exist today. So speaking to your point earlier, Ryan, of someone who's coming in for a certain workflow within Premiere Pro versus the beta version, this is the difference that they'll see. So if you go to the beta version, you'll see TikTok here. If you go to the Premiere Pro version, you will not see TikTok in that because it's not available in the actual version. It's only in the beta version that's available, the beta build. So very important differentiation. And then that said, we also want to highlight that if you're in the beta build and you're accessing this feature there, you can publish it as a reel, not just a Facebook video, but a Facebook reel, or as a YouTube short as well. So, but here we're talking about TikTok, so we'll get back to that. But in case you want to do that, you can toggle and use Facebook or YouTube.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning, Madhuri. And like we called out earlier as well, there's actually the ability to post to both posts and drafts for TikTok. So if you're indecisive like me, you can always queue up a video for later. And something that's been added as well is you can actually click to view the format requirements for TikTok over here in this export panel. So like to what Madhuri was saying about feeling a little bit nervous, about direct publishing, like here's something that will just hopefully reassure you as well, that at this very final step too, you can also view your format requirements and it's not going to impact your ranking at all. So in this case, I'm just going to select post, and I can also select my privacy settings. So everything you can basically do in app, right? You can allow users to comment, duet, stitch. You can select your cover image as well. I think my dad looks a little bit angry here, so maybe I'll get him smiling at the end.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing he's okay with you using his content, Eliza.
Right?
Yeah,
It has to be.
any other influencer, no way.
Exactly. So yes, I've selected private. And the nice thing about this too is that it downloads a version to my desktop and to TikTok. So I do have the video that I can view both ways. So I've selected all my settings and then I'm just going to press export.
By the way, I
and
think
you'll
that's
see
such
here.
a great point to also really touch on is the idea that I use a Windows computer, but I have an iPhone. So whenever I am creating these things, I have to go through interesting workflows, like maybe using Google Drive or something, or like finding a way to upload it to a service to then download it so that I can then upload it to TikTok. It's really nice being able to have that seamless connection where even though I'm on a Windows computer, I can still access the draft or whatever on my phone without really any pain points, which is cool.
Yeah, and Madhuri, feel free to add here, but like Ryan, you were mentioning like a Windows, workflow, iPhone to Windows, and we're all working with like different footage. We're all filming with different cameras, with phones even. We're working on both Windows and Mac, and these are all partners that we actually work with behind the scenes across like engineering and product as well, to make sure that, these workflows are seamless and optimized for playback in Premiere, that you can bring iPhone footage in, but you can also bring like Sony and Canon and their newest cameras and their newest formats into Premiere. Yeah, Madhuri, did you want to add?
No, that's exactly right. And I think also the key point again being on this being integrated seamlessly, right? So when it comes to the use cases, there are a variety of use cases, and Ryan, you pointed one of them right now, which is different from use cases that we're showcasing, right? Whether you're using an iPhone footage or what have you. So the idea is we work with our partners to make this experience seamless for our users.
Also, Dad is in the chat saying, I don't mind losing face on this one.
It's a very, very Asian Malaysian thing to say.
Tommaso
Okay.
is also in the chat asking, what was the alternative that TikTok preferred originally? Was it recording directly in TikTok? And yes, we were talking a little bit about how there was this assumption, or at least talking of like how these different things affected your ranking, depending on where you edited it or where it was. And a lot of people were always like, you have to only do it in TikTok. You can't use Premiere. You can't use external things, otherwise it'll affect your ranking. But this is certified that it's not going to affect your ranking.
Yeah, and I think the main thing that we've got to focus on here is TikTok is a net new destination, right? So I mean, it's not that people didn't do this today. That's the reason I asked that question earlier, like how many people are already using Premiere Pro for TikTok use cases? There are already people who are doing that. The fact that they will probably have their workflow and timelines cut short, right? Like when I say timeline, like their time shortened for actually doing this end to end. That's what we're trying to help optimize. So people like existing content creators might be just using Premiere Pro today, create their video, create their captions, edit and export it. It would typically just go into the desktop, and then you would probably either have to bring it into TikTok by web, or bring that video onto a phone and then publish it. So there is a lot of barrier to steps. In this case, you're just directly hitting one button, and in fact, it can go to multiple destinations at once if you need it to. So yeah.
Yeah. And to that point as well, like exactly, this brings the export workflow within Premiere, but we also have, partnerships across the board that's actually bringing like live camera footage into Premiere as well, with like Camera to Cloud and like other Bird Dog, just to mention a couple. So it's like, as an editor, that really feels empowering to me personally, because like I can, be even more in control of my final output and actually be like seeing the camera footage come in and then just exporting to social media, whatever destination I want, just from within Premiere without having to, open up another window, go to another device. So it's, it's really that seamless workflow that we're talking about. And then just to check if that has exported, please ignore my two followers. But there you go.
Deal breaker of building trust.
The video has exported to TikTok, and you can check it to make sure that everything exported right. But I've never faced an issue with this. So that's it for the demo.
We only have a few minutes left. Time flew by, but I do need to know. Do you happen to know why he says we need to lie in order to build trust?
He says don't lie.
He says don't lie? I thought he said do lie.
Let's see.
Here's the deal breaker of building trust, and that is telling lies.
The deal breaker.
Here's
What
the scary
is the
thing
deal
about lying.
breaker?
It takes a bigger lie to cover the previous one. This compounding effect creates anxiety because it is so difficult to live a consistent and coherent life. And before you know it, lies are not just your words, it has become a way of life.
Yeah, I think that maybe answers the question.
That's perfect.
Lots of wisdom from Dad.
Well, a big thank you to him also for being the guinea pig of today, and for being in chat. Thank you so much for all you guys' questions and comments. If there's anything else you guys want to include, we've got about a minute left. But thank you so much for showing us this demo.
Absolutely. I just want to call out that, as Eliza was demoing this, you could see that it was almost real time, right? Like it was literally as she published it, it appeared right there. So just want to call out to the performance there as well. And you will see that happen right away. And it's incredibly seamless.
Absolutely. Well, great. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to trying this out myself. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to walk us through it. And I'd be very interested, everyone in the chat, to also stay in contact with us on Adobe Live. We've got plenty of shows going on. Thank you again. And we will all see you very soon.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye,
Thank
guys.
you, Ryan, for being an amazing host.
Yeah, thank you.